We're two sisters with 10 adult kids between us, and we thought parenting would get easier once the kids grew up. We were wrong.
From navigating careers, relationships, and moving back in, adult kids bring a whole new set of parenting challenges.
Join us as we share real stories,
Lessons learned,
and plenty of laughs.
because parenting doesn't end, it just changes.
These can't be my kids,
But they are.
Don't forget to follow,
Like,
comment,
share.
subscribe,
You can find us on YouTube,
Apple,
Spotify,
and everywhere you want to be. So my son called me a bitch and a whore this weekend.
Wait, so this is how we start an episode.
Yeah, because it's the truth.
I just want to say, hi, y'all. It's Leela.
No, my
Wow.
son called me a bee and a whore this weekend. And considering that this is what this show is about, talking about things that are normally not said, I wanted to start it off that way. That's what he did.
So what happened that caused him to do that? You know, and I don't want to say like, what did you do, right? Because that's commonly what people be like, oh, well, what did you do? So what happened that made him feel like it was okay? I guess I don't know.
Was it okay to call your mom a bee and a whore?
Yeah.
What happened? I could tell you this. Nothing happened that would put him in a position to do that. And I don't think there's anything that could put him in a position to do that, but he felt it was. Basically, he did something foul to somebody else. They called his siblings and me. I called him to say, hey, what happened? And he began to scream and holler and go through all this.
So you were put in a situation where you were trying to clean up a mess he made because somebody else reached out to you.
I don't even want to say clean up. I just want to ask what happened, really much.
Okay. So you called him just to say what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on?
Okay.
So I hung up the phone with him, and at that moment, I was like, okay, you lost privilege to talk to me for a few days, because he was yelling and screaming. 3 days later, he calls me back, and I don't pick up the phone, but he calls me 5 times back to back. So now I'm thinking something's wrong with my grandson. I pick up the phone, and he is screaming about 1999. Not
so
the
something
year.
that happened a long time ago.
No, not the year. $19.99.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm like, I'm like, wait, when was he born? I'm trying to regulate the year of his birth. Okay.
So he is calling me saying that I stole, or my Apple Pay took $19.99 from him.
So your Apple Pay,
right?
Okay. Why would it be your Apple Pay?
Because some kind of way our Apple Pay is connected. I don't know. It's a whole story behind that.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm like, I didn't take $19.99 from you. I don't even have a subscription for $19.99. And then if you look at my Apple Pay, it says no $19.99. So I sent this to him, and he was like, well, you better give me my effing money. So at this point,
okay, I guess I'm just gonna look shocked, y'all, this whole conversation.
So at this point, I'm like, and if I don't, what you gonna do? Because now I'm like, how dare you? And so I'm like, if I don't, what you gonna do? And he was like, you better give me my effing money. I said, get on the plane and come to Texas, come get it.
I mean, just the demand, just the audacity of the language, right? Like, I know a lot of adult children use language, you know, around their parents, because that's just kind of sometimes how they talk, right? So I'm not even trying to say it can be disrespectful if that's not what your household looks like. But if your household is comfortable with that, then it's not disrespectful. Like, my kids will occasionally use cuss words around me. They not at me, around me for sure, but not at me. So I'm on the audacity right now of all of this, and I know we don't have audacities this year, or this season, but audacity of calling you a bee and a whore, audacity of come give me my effing money.
Here's
I ain't even finished, right? You ain't even finished.
I ain't even finished. First of all, mind you on a phone that I paid for, that you've had for 3 years. You ain't paid a phone bill in 3 years.
Okay. So you on my phone.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's so many audacities.
So then he goes on and he continues to scream and holler. So then he goes from this $19.99 back to the event that happened 3 days prior.
Okay.
And he was like, "You ain't nothing but a rat. And you just like your BA son."
So
and
what happened 3 days
the
prior?
3 days later when I called him to ask him what happened with his friends.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So
okay.
he's
so he tying. Oh, wait, because 3 days earlier was the phone call of
Right.
what happened with this person.
Right.
Then he called about his 1999.
Right.
Okay.
So
So
then-
different days,
Yeah.
but it's all
Tied in together.
got it.
So he's hollering and screaming.
And then he ties it to your son, to the other son.
To my other son, my youngest son.
The youngest one.
So he's like, "Oh, you just like him?" And I'm like, so I'm still in the mode of tit for tat, petty for petty. Because to be honest, this ain't the first time he's done this.
Okay.
Right? This is not the first time that he's called me out of my name. So at this point, I'm kind of numb to it at this point. And so my response to him is like, I would be talking to somebody in the street. Like, okay, so he was like, "Oh, you just like your BA son." And I said, "Well, you just like your BA daddy."
Okay.
And so he comes back and he says, "Yeah, but that's the reason why my father busted you up in your face, because you wasn't nothing but a whore anyway."
Okay, so now I'm a whore.
And I deserve to get
busted in my face.
Right.
Because I'm just like my BA son.
Yeah.
And all right. So I'm gonna wait, before you even go on with the story, because I know the story in itself is a lot. It's a lot. We take it a lot right now. How did you initially feel? Like, did you even feel like you was talking to your son, or did you feel like, I mean, because you are his mother. So when he first said all of this to you, like, what feelings were coming up for you?
Anger. Just anger.
You was just mad.
I was just angry because, as I said before, he's done this before, right? He's never, and not to say it makes any difference, he's never called me a whore before. He never, he's called me a B before. So this conversation was, oh, I know how this conversation will go. So I was angry, but I wasn't there yet.
Okay.
So at this point, I hang up the phone and he proceeds to call the group chat. He calls the group chat, and in the group chat
includes who? Before I take my sip, y'all.
It includes me and the rest of his siblings.
Okay, so family group chat.
Right? So he's in a group chat. Everybody comes on, and all they hear is, "I promise you, I swear to God, y'all never see me again, or my son." And so everybody like, "What's going on?" I'm not saying anything at this point.
So nobody else knows
what's going on. They like, "Why he on here yelling?" But again, this behavior has occurred before. So they're not really shocked. They just like, "All right, what he yelling about now?"
Right.
But at this point, he keeps going further. "You're a B, you're a whore."
Now, are you on the group chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
"You're a whore, you've been ran
through." Wait, is this a chat or like a call?
This is a FaceTime group chat.
A FaceTime. Yeah. Okay, so it's a phone call.
Yeah.
All right. I just need to clarify if it's typing or like words.
Yeah, so he going in. And so my youngest daughter says, "Ma, get off the phone," because he pissing me off. And he was like, he goes on. And I hang up the phone. It's at that moment that I hang up the phone that I'm like, did this kid that I just birthed into this earth call me a B, a whore, and then turn around and say I've been ran through?
Like all within a matter of minutes, essentially.
And I don't even know where you got that from, because all of y'all got the same daddy. So how was I ran through? Right? So now I'm in my head.
So did you feel like you needed to validate what he was saying? Like when you say something like that, like y'all have the same daddy, so how was I ran through? Like, them having the same daddy really don't have nothing to do with whether you ran through or not ran through or anything. But just like, again, this goes back to the audacity. Like, as he was calling you names and saying things like, "That's why my father busted your face," and this, that, and the other. Like, did you feel like you had to defend those statements? Did you feel like
I did?
Yes,
I did.
So what made you feel like you had to defend the statements that he was saying?
Because the rest of my children were on the phone, and I felt like, even though they knew better, I felt like I needed to I had to defend myself in those statements because even though they knew better, this thing was happening. And I just wanted to say, I wanted it to be known, like, no, this is not real. This is not even the case. And even though they knew that, to me, I felt like I still needed to do that.
Okay.
And so that's why I defended the statement. So I get off the phone, and my youngest daughter, she's telling everybody at this point, y'all get off the phone. Just get off the phone. And then they all call me and they like, Mom, what happened?
So did they call individually or did they do another group call?
They did another group call and they asked me what happened. I give them the basis of what happened. And it was my oldest daughter. She said, he always calling you a whore.
Like he said to them a lot?
And so I said, but here's the crazy part. I said, no, he ain't always calling me a whore. He always called me a B, but not a whore. And as soon as those words came out of my mouth, I said, am I stupid?
Right. Because now you're saying that this happens all the time. Like you're comfortable
right
with him calling you a B.
Right.
And this is the middle son.
Mm-hmm.
So not that matters, but I'm just putting it in perspective. So he has fallen into this cycle of he just say whatever he want to say and call you whatever he want to call you.
Because because he feel like he can.
And you would accept it because
I would accept it because I thought it would change. I thought the nicer or the more I did for him. Well, I felt a little bad because I was like, okay, y'all didn't choose y'all daddy, I did. And he's not around. So that's y'all didn't ask for that. So that's my fault.
Girl.
My responsibility.
Did she just wait? Oh. Did she just say, okay, I'm just, I can't. Because how many of us pick a bad baby daddy? Like, that happens in life. Like, every baby daddy ain't good. There's a lot of bad baby daddies out there. And that's just so, like, I don't know. You was a good baby mama.
I felt like I owed them something because I'm the one who made.
Goodness.
I was the one who made the bad choice, and they didn't ask for that.
Right.
So, and then it was, he got his own mental issues with Asperger's, but he got good common sense. And so then I was
know better than to call his mama a B and a whore.
And so it was that. And then I was trying to fix everything for him to make it easier, and that's pretty much why I did.
So do you think anything has been easier for him?
For him?
Yeah, like the things that you tried to fix. Like, do you think you really made things easier for him in his life?
Yeah, I did make it easier for him.
Okay.
I did. I mean, he didn't have to pay a phone bill for 3 years. Okay. Whenever he needed gas money, whenever he had a problem, whenever he went to court, when he had his baby mother got into it with his son, I was there.
So that was giving you probably some kind of benefit. Like you felt like you were benefiting by making things easier for him, which allowed you to stay in the cycle. Like it's an abusive relationship. But the hard question is, okay, so now what? Like, so now you are sitting here. He done called you a B, a whore, said you was ran through, said you deserve to get your face beaten, all this stuff, all like in a matter of hours. Then he goes and he's on the family group chat ranting the same stuff to everybody else. So now what? And you sit back and you go, wait a minute. Did my kids just say to me that he's always calling me these names? And you said, well, no, he only always called me a B.
Sounds so crazy now.
It does sound crazy when you listen to it. So now what? Like what is next in this relationship for you?
If now it's estrangement. Now I am going into a season of estrangement. It is, you can no longer have access to me. And not for a couple of days. You can't no longer have access to me in this type of way ever again.
Yeah. So I know I told you that before, like at some point in the past, he did something crazy. And I was like, girl, you need to just let him live his life. And, it's very much easier said than done. I never make the assumption that because I'm saying it's easy for anybody to do. I have 4 kids myself, so I know that every time you separate, yourself from that child or even that grandchild. He's the parent of one of your grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So estrangement from him also means estrangement from that grandchild.
Yep.
Which is a deeper hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I never ever thought it was easier, but did it make sense to you that that was the right step to take, or did it just kind of feel like you were just in so much pain that you're saying this is where like, is it because of hurt, or does it make sense? I guess is the question I'm trying to ask you. Like, does it really make sense that this is the right move to make as it relates to this?
Now it does. Because when it happened, it was this pain, right? It was the accumulation of the pain. And then when I sat with it, it was, this makes sense. And I guess, and then watching my other children say, half of them was like, oh, we ain't got no faith in her. She ain't going to do nothing. This going to continue on. And the other half saying, we don't even know why you looking sad like this. Right. He do this all the time. So hearing that come from them, I had to sit with that. And I was like, wait, what? And so in sitting with that and dealing with the pain, it didn't make sense. Mm-hmm. What's the next thing to do? The next thing to do is this.
So, I don't know if you even remember, it's been so many years ago, but I don't know, like I had not a similar situation, but an estrangement, right? Mm-hmm. With my oldest, who has my grandchild. Like, me and her got into a big old disagreement. I don't even remember what it was about. She probably don't remember what it was about. It's been so many years ago. But we got into some disagreement. And I remember I was telling you a story because I was like talking about how back then I was like telling her she couldn't take her son with her. I was like, you could get out of here and never talk to me ever again, but my grandbaby does stay here. And my husband looking at me sideways like, you don't have no power over her kids. Like, you need to, like, you can't tell her what she's gonna do with her kid. And so I don't know how long it was that we didn't speak. I'm gonna say 6 months, maybe at least. She went and she did whatever she did, and I had no contact with her, no contact with my grandson. And it is one of the toughest seasons in life when you are estranged from your adult children. So now that you know what you want to do, what does that look like for you? You said no access, right? And then is there, how is that going to be for you with the grandbaby? Like, is that going to include that grandbaby? Are you thinking you can work around that? I mean, there's other ways, right? There's the other siblings that are involved, and they can kind of help collaborate different things. But so no access to you. And do you set a time limit on this? I know I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to really understand what's it going to look like, because I know how difficult it is. I do. And so just kind of really, you have to set those boundaries and have that plan in place, or else it's not going to work. Now, it's very different. Now, I will say, when I was estranged from my daughter, like, I was mad at her, but she was the one who was like, I'm not going to deal with you. Mm-hmm. It wasn't me saying I'm not going to deal with her. Like, I would have had that argument with her and moved on and probably continued living in whatever cycle it was that we was living in. Right. But she was like, I'm not talking to my mom. And so she basically cut off ties with me. So it's different when your child is cutting off ties with you, because you really have no control over that, right? Right. But you're saying you're going to cut the tie. So how does that look for you in understanding and knowing what the boundaries are in that situation?
So the no longer having access is not just with him, but it's also with my grandson. Mm-hmm. I had to come to terms with that because my grandson is always used as a manipulation piece on the board, either by his baby mama or by him. Okay. He knows, like, the easiest way to get back into the family is to call us with the baby in the back, right? Got it. So I need to cut off access, as much as it hurts, with my grandson as well as my son. When he called, he had said that he was cutting off access with all of us anyway, which only lasts for a moment. But for me, what that looked like for me was, one, making that decision, two, turning off that phone. Something that I struggled with for so long, because the phone to me was like,
access to the grandbaby.
Not only that, but I never wanted to put him on a crack or push him over the cliff, right? Because I know that phone is his connection to work, his connection to everything, right? And so I was like, oh, I didn't want to turn that off for him,
So you
especially in
ain't
the
think
middle.
you ain't think he could go get like a phone at the store or get like a burner phone, or he
Yeah,
can't?
yeah, he'll probably I mean, at this point he don't have no choice.
No, but I'm just saying, over the
back then,
past 3 years,
no,
you didn't think he could figure out how to have a phone?
I did, but I was just like, I did not, because every time something happened, it was always in the midst of him, in the middle of getting a job or doing a job or whatever, and I didn't want to disrupt that for him, right? That was my excuse,
right?
Because now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds foolish,
Okay.
right? So one, I cut off the phone. I blocked him from every means of contact, email, social media, every way that he could possibly talk to me or get in contact with me. I blocked him. I also changed all my passwords to all the subscriptions he had.
Y'all, I still ain't getting no hit ups for my subscription order, by the way. I'm looking for somebody to help pay for this.
I told everybody to change passwords and everything.
So you're not, it's not even just affecting you. It sounds like it's affecting his siblings as well.
Yeah, because what he does is he takes out his anger, and I think it's way beyond anger, but he takes out whatever rage he got going on everybody. Because remember, this started not even with us.
Correct. It was because
somebody else.
He messed somebody else up.
Right. And so then it comes down to us. And then he plays that I'm the middle child, I'm the black sheep, and blah, blah, blah. And then I guess I started to feel guilty about that as well. But so I cut off all access. As far as the time limit, I don't know what that time limit is right now, but I can tell you it's not a couple of days. It's not even a couple of months for me right now, because believe it or not, I'm emotionally exhausted from this kid.
I can only imagine. This whole situation got me emotionally exhausted just from listening.
I'm emotionally
and to think that
exhausted.
It's been ongoing over and over and over
for
and over
years.
And over again. It
for
just drains
years.
you. So as you make this decision, right, I'm sure like you wrestle with it. So do you really think that you're making the decision out of clarity and understanding of the situation, or is it just kind of like you mad, you're angry?
No, that's why I didn't do anything for the first 24 hours, right? I didn't do anything because I was mad and I was angry. And if I was in the same place he was in, I probably would have drove to where he was. And so I didn't.
Gave him a good old, I would have got the,
no, girl, we would have been fighting in the street like girl, we would have been fighting in the street.
I'd have got the belt out on him. It would have been one of those.
Girl, that boy, he need more than the belt. But I was angry and I was hurt. And that's why I didn't make a move for 24 hours, because I did not want to make a decision based off of anger and hurt, because I've done that in the past and it never lasts.
Right.
But if I make this decision out of clarity now with oh, you know what? I don't deserve this kind of treatment. This is a form of abuse, verbal abuse. It's an extension of the abuse that I had already suffered prior to, and I don't deserve it. Mm-hmm. And my peace is so important. So when I came to that clarity, I was able to make the decision that has been so hard for years to do, and that was to cut access from him to me off. And it was difficult, but it happened.
All right, so in the beginning of this episode, when you were talking about the reason that you allowed certain things, right? You felt guilty about their baby daddy, or you wanted to make sure he had this. Knowing that you are going to make this cut and initiate the estrangement, because you know he's not. Do you feel guilty?
I don't know if guilty is the right word. There's a lot of emotions here. There's sadness. There's sadness. There is embarrassment, a little bit of shame, a little bit of it's deeper than guilt.
Okay.
So there's a lot of emotions there. That is way deeper than guilt.
Dive into some of these. So just so y'all know, this is a tough topic for a lot of people. So sadness, 100%, right? We understand anytime, it's like losing a child, right? And so when you have estrangement, it's like a period of grief, and honesty, because something that was a part of your life that was so close to you that you loved dearly is now gone, and that causes grief. But you also said like embarrassment and shame. What's your embarrassment and shame for?
Um, that this is my kid, yo. That I brought this kid into this world, and he's an extension of me, a part of me, and he is so angry and so disrespectful.
Hmm.
And it's just like, and for other people to see it, knowing all the things that I've done for him is embarrassing.
But you do know, like with that, once they become adults, like we pour into them everything that we can, and that's what we do as parents generally. Um, but they still become their own individuals, right? And so what he has is not a reflection of you. What he has become, and it's not just you. Children are a half of each of their parents biologically. Even if they never met their biological parent, they are still have part of that parent in them because they have their genes. Then whoever they're raised by also influences that. Their environment influences that, right? Their siblings above them influence that. There's so many things that influence the way that they become as adults that you can't take that on as just you, right? It's not just being a part of you. Unfortunately, it would be nice if we could just craft them and mold them like clay and make them what we want them to be, and they go off and they be the lawyers or doctors or fire people or whatever we wish for them to be, right? Pilots, astronauts, I don't know, president, whatever those things are. Yeah, but that's not reality. That's not life, right? So one thing that I'm going to share that I think for all parents out there, right? If you feel embarrassed or ashamed about the way your kids turn out, just take a minute and step back and realize that you are not the only influence in their life, that there's so much more that influences their lives, that it's not just you, and you shouldn't be embarrassed in the way that they turn out, especially once they become adults. Because I say even teenagers. I mean, we focus on adults on the show, but even in teenage years, right? Their influences are so broad and wide that they just become sometimes nothing like what we think they should be or expected them to be. And so, yeah, this is a safe place to talk about that kind of stuff for sure. Um, but I'm telling you, like, I want, as your sister, as a parent, um, we understand that disrespect isn't something that we should just accept because it comes from our child. We know this, we understand this, and you're at a good space where with this situation. And like I said, I experienced this, and now me and my daughter are fine, right? We had
Mm-hmm.
that period, and she grew up some more. I probably grew up some more. It was my oldest child, so I was a young parent,
Yeah.
18. So she grew up, yes, as my child, but I also didn't know how to be a parent. And so when this situation happened, and it was years ago, I don't even remember how many eons ago it was, but um, we both grew up to be able to come back together, and now we have a much better, much more respectful relationship, because what love doesn't require is that you accept disrespect, right?
Mm.
And so just knowing that, and you can love him without having to be in that relationship with him. You can love him through estrangement, which you will. He's always going to be your child.
Always.
So when you think about disrespect, and we have an audience of people here who probably have experienced some of the similar situations. I remember I used to watch Dr. Phil. Let me tell y'all. And them like he used to do a lot of like kids coming on with their parents and stuff. And some of these kids, I would be sitting there like, if my child ever talked to me like that, right? Like we watch it, we see it,
Yeah.
and we have this like very strong, oh my goodness, that's just terrible. How dare they? But then we find ourselves in those situations of
Yes.
disrespect. And so when you think
Yes.
about that, like what advice would you give a parent who is in a disrespectful cycle? And not just like a once in a blue moon, but like a true disrespectful cycle like you realized. And is there something that they can do to recognize that they are in a cycle?
Well, one I'd say is that I never in a million years thought I would be saying that I'm about to enter the season of estrangement with my kid. That's like, what? That's actually a season, a thing that happens.
Yeah.
But now looking at it as I am starting to walk through it, I can't tell anybody because I'm just starting to walk through it. But what I will say is that the one thing that has helped me a lot is having support.
Hmm.
Not people that parent bash you for what you do, but the support and really speaking to you out of love and helping you realize and recognize what is happening. And even though it took me a while to understand what was being said to me, everybody was still in place to support me,
Hmm.
from you, my other children, other people who have
Mm-hmm.
seen his behavior would call and just offer me support. So if you don't have anybody around you, definitely be surrounded by support, by people who will support you, not talk about you, not ridicule you, not parent bash you, any of that. But people that will really genuinely talk to you in love, and when they talk to you, you know that the words that they're coming from is really out
Right.
of love.
Right. And generally those people, so that love is not just for you, that love is also for the
The
child,
child.
whatever that child is, right?
Yep.
Because they've obviously either been in your life long enough to know the situation, and they probably know that child and want the best for them just as much as they want the best for you. um and so
I will say this one thing. I seen one of our followers had made a comment about something I said. I put up this post in reference to my son had lost access to speaking with me.
mm-hmm.
And she was like, sometimes you got to let them go and pray.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just tell you, like, the first 48 hours, I couldn't even pray. There was no words of prayer that could come out of my mouth for this situation. But now I'm in this now, and to be honest, there's still no words for
Right.
real, right? Because it's not, oh God, just fix it, fix him, fix me, fix the relationship, because it's so much deeper than that, right? There's a root cause, there's other things that's going on. So now my prayer is, you know, God give me the strength to get through this season. That's all I got right now.
Yeah. And I'm sure other people around you are praying for you, praying for him. And so those words will come from others until you have them for yourself. So I don't think that you have to worry about trying to find those right now. It's more about you. So if he saw this episode, like if he listens to the episodes, because I know some of the kids do, what would you want him to hear from you?
I love you. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I love you. I love you to life. But I also got to love me too. And in loving me too, I have to let you go to find yourself, become a man, and recognize you. And I hope that one day we can have a relationship that is built on mutual respect, and that he could come to a place of honoring me as his mother.
Yeah. I will say, I think as we have started this podcast and we see comments on our socials, that this is definitely a situation that is more common than people admit, like estrangement from your adult children. Um,
That's just so crazy to
it is.
say.
It is.
It's so crazy to say that
Yeah.
these kids that you watched run around, like when I look at my granddaughter now and I see all the havoc she making at almost being 2, and my daughter running around and making sure this and this, and then you fast forward 18 years later and you not even speaking to this kid.
Yeah.
That's just,
it is unthinkable. I was talking to somebody the other day who told me that they lost their son. Their son actually passed away, and so we were just talking about that loss and and this is why I said, like, it's the same grief that you get when you lose a child. Um, the lucky part of it is also that sometimes you can build that relationship back. Sometimes, but you know, just like I know, there's people who still have no contact with their children after so many years, and it's very hard to build that back depending on why you lose that relationship. But I will say that I think choosing peace is not selfish. So you have to kind of know what that looks like for you and set the appropriate boundaries, and know that you always have a resource. You know, I mean, if you don't have people in your immediate circle, that's what we're here for, because I tell you, we deal with it all. I mean, between the two of us with all these kids, there's not one thing. Well, let me think. No, I don't think. From my imagination, and I'm sure somebody could probably come up with something. But you know, there's not many things that we haven't dealt with, especially when you talk about the age range from 22 to 38 or whatever the oldest is. I don't want
almost 40.
I don't call nobody out because they be talking about, oh, you got my age wrong, but it's
almost
okay.
40.
Almost 40. Yeah, but you know, today was a hard conversation, but it was definitely a real one. Karen kind of started this episode off real strong. Didn't even tell me, y'all, but
what happened?
We persevered. I mean, and sometimes that's what this is, right? I mean, honestly, sometimes we come on here and we know what we're talking about, and sometimes we come on here and we don't know what we're talking about, because life happens every day, and life happens to us every day. And so it'd be nice if it was scripted like a sitcom or a real TV show, but it's not. This is our real lives and the people that we talk about real lives.
You know, it's real quick funny that you say that, is that all last week or the last 2 weeks, we were prepping for season 3 to come out, right? And I had seen so many TikToks about people who were in estranged relationships with their children, right? And even, you know, I have a really good friend. She hasn't talked to her son in over 10 years. They starting to talk now. And I used to always go to her, how the heck you do that? I can't even imagine. And now here we go, 2 weeks in, and this thing happens in such a way. And all I could think is, oh, you know what, God, you were preparing me. You were preparing me. Because you were like, listen, you about to go into something. So you need to see that there are other people out there that have similar stories and similar situations. And, you know, as much as we say you're not alone, we're not alone.
Correct.
And
this is our circle. As much as this, we're trying to make it your circle or help you with it, because we're in those same situations.
Yeah. So it was just crazy that, you know, and we started this podcast with, yo, looking at our kids going, this can't be my kids. And that's exactly how I feel. Like, this can't be my kid.
Yeah. And, you know, normally we would close out the episode with, tell me something this week that made you think these can't be my kids. But Karen gave us a whole story of what happened this week for her. So I guess I'll ask myself the question today. What happened this week that made me think that these can't be my kids is, I would probably say it's like my daughter. So she just got a new job. My youngest daughter got a new job. And she came in the house and was like, I don't get paid enough for this, right? And I get it, right? You know, jobs are hard to come by today. So people get jobs that they can get. And but the part that made me think these can't be my kids was the fact that, y'all know I'm in HR. Y'all know this is my role. Right? This is what I do every day. And she was like, my manager get paid way more than me just to walk around and tell people what to do. And I was like, well, isn't that what managers are supposed to do? So I say this to her, of course, because I'm like, well, yeah, they're managers. That's what they do. And so she's like, no. He just sits in the office all day and he don't even know how to delegate. And he don't know how to do this and he don't know how to do that. But yet still, then she tells me in the next breath that he tells somebody else to tell her what to do. So I'm like, that's kind of delegating. So I don't know. I was just like, this can't be my child, because if she was my child, she would know from my career that what she's saying is how things are supposed to be. So add a little humor to the end of the episode, because it was real heavy.
Yeah.
But that was my moment this week when I was like, these can't be my kids, because my child would probably know this stuff and understand it, but I guess not. So I don't know, y'all.
Girl, I don't think they understand what HR is.
I don't
I
think
don't
kids
think that.
today understand what HR is. She also told me like that they could expect her to be late every day because she was late to her interview, she was late to her orientation, and she's been late to like most of her shifts. So the fact that he want to talk to her about being on time is just ridiculous.
No, the thing that got me is she was like, human resources. Isn't it the resources for humans? I'm a human.
She's just like, I'm like, girl, like you, like we'll figure out how long this lasts. I don't know. It is. Her aunt did ask her. She said, "So what do you want to do?" Like, cause she's like trying to help her find like a job that maybe she might like. So she's like, "So what do you want to do?" And she was like, "Don't y'all get it? I don't want to work ever
Don't,
at all."
don't you get it? So do we.
I know. This has been life. So. But well, we want to thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of These Can't Be My Kids. We know this is a heavy one. Please know this probably will not be the last conversation about estrangement.
Definitely.
Because this is a big thing and we know that it happened. It may not be this full story, but we are going to watch Karen on this journey. So we will hear more about it. And if you have stories similar, please share them. Or any stories about These Can't Be My Kids, whether they don't know how to go to work, don't know how to mow the lawn, don't know how to take their meds, whichever one it is that you want to pick, we are open to all of them. Hit us up on social media. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and of
wherever
course
you listen
you can listen to us anywhere and watch us. Of course, YouTube, which is our home base. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of These Can't Be My Kids.
But they are.
As the sign says, unfortunately. Have a great day, night, whatever time you listening.